Hey everybody, Coffee with Karen. Click. Remember the old click? It's been a while, hasn't it? I decided I needed a little coffee even though it's afternoon. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I thought I would bring out my little dumpster fire mug. Thank you, Gary. So cute, isn't it? This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine because I created a big old dumpster fire on Tuesday when I recorded my last Coffee with Karen or, spirit messages. And I find it really interesting because within 20 minutes, I remember even saying in that video that I don't feel like talking about anything. And then I just kind of rambled on about stuff. I literally created a dumpster fire in 20 minutes. But I appreciate you guys. You're so sweet. Everybody, there were people who left. There were people who, which is normal. I think people leave anyways. But yeah, I got, I don't think people were too open arms about crypto when I was talking about crypto because I was like, what's up with that? The crypto stuff. And then when I was talking about the health, I clearly got it wrong and said glucose instead of carbs. So then I've gotten some feedback about that, which again, feedback is amazing. Let me get to the spiritual part of this though. Okay. I'm just telling you some of the examples. And I was chewing gum, which I hardly ever do. I was just doing it because my throat was dry that day. And I thought it's so interesting because I thought for sure you couldn't see me chewing gum, but you could. And then about the Spirit Circle movie, and I was talking about the Spirit Circle, the membership for the channel, not the channel. Okay. So yeah. So all four of those things in 20 minutes. And then it was just, I don't know. I got so many comments. So a lot of confusion, a lot of, disagreements or whatever, which is totally fine. But it's really interesting to me. So there's my little dumpster fire. So click. You want to have coffee with me today? I got to start bringing my mugs out again. I've gotten some really cute mugs from people recently. I'm going to start sharing those and bringing them out. So I just haven't done it. So anyways, few clarifications. And then I want to talk a little bit about the spiritual aspect of when that happens, because I know it happens to everybody, where we have a day where we create a dumpster fire, right? It's so true. I probably create one once every 6 months, not just on the channel, but it just feels like the day is a dumpster fire, right? Do you ever wonder about those days? Or I remember when I used to work with students for 30 years, I worked in higher ed, in case people are new to the channel. So I worked in higher education for 30 years, and there would be days where how you would make a mistake, because we all make mistakes, but and then there would be one student who got or let's just say not a mistake I made, but maybe it was one of my students and I was advocating for them or mentoring or whatever, supporting them. And the whole university was making mistakes. Just this one person got just had a dumpster fire of a day, but it based on other people responding. All these mistakes kept happening to this one person and you could see it as kind of their advocate or whatever. So you ever have those days and you're like, what's up with the dumpster fire for the day? What is that? So I really needed okay, two things. First of all, super proud of myself because 6 months ago, I would have felt horrible about myself. I would have, because I don't like making mistakes, but I have come so far to realize that I am human and I make mistakes and I respond to things from my ego. And I didn't take it personally. I just was like, oh, wow, I created a dumpster fire. You know what I mean? So that's really good. That's a great place to be in. I still honor and recognize that I created a dumpster fire, but I didn't take it personally. I wasn't like, oh, you suck, you're a horrible person, you know what I mean? And I've done that my whole life. If I ever made any kind of little mistake. So that's a really good place. And that is because of my spiritual work. It is only because of my spiritual work. So that you guys are doing that, you know, you've allowed me to do with you on this channel. So amazing. I mean, just looking at that amount of growth for me over 6-7 months is incredible. I mean, I've, you know, slowly over time got better. I mean, I used to be way worse at it, not taking things personally. But then the other thing is I immediately went to my astrology report that the astrologer that we've hired for the channel is Faye. Faye Astrology, is that Astrology with Faye? And I immediately went to my report this morning. Actually, as I was preparing for this, I thought, I wonder what's going on in July that I would create a dumpster fire for myself. You know what I mean? So the reason I like that idea is because I'm looking outside of myself, understanding that sometimes things happen that are outside of your control, or because of the way the planets are aligning for you, whatever's in your birth chart or whatever. And whatever this, like, I really felt like that day was another growth spurt. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, I needed to be what I learned. And I'm not going to say I'm not going to do it again, because I may. You know, all of these videos I do are stream of consciousness, which, you know, if I'm in a weird mood, you're going to get a day like Tuesday. But every time that happens, I get a little closer and a little closer to being just really more careful with my words. However, I'm saying I still value the stream of consciousness. And because I'm an extroverted feeler, extroverts extrovert their feelings out loud rather than thinking first. I extrovert stuff out loud. So that's just my style. It's what I was born with. And yes, I can rein it in. Absolutely. But I'm not saying I'll never have a day like that again. And it will depend on my astrology too, you know. So let me look at, I thought we could look together at my report, just like a little snippet of it for the month of July, because it's just quite fascinating. And then we're going to, I'm just going to go over a few of the things that I said on Tuesday, just to do some quick clarifying, not long at all, just boom, boom, quick clarifying about some things. And then we're going to do live messages from the LTC today. So the Lead Team Collective, we're going to see what they have for us today, whether it's spiritual message, political message. I'm not even sure. I haven't even asked them. So we're going to use through the pendulum live today, which is why I'm sitting down here. We'll ask what oracle they want to use. I'll do that live with you in real time, not live, but in real time. And we'll do it that way. Okay. So, and, you know, I just want to thank everybody for a lot, you know, I just want to thank everybody in this community who sticks it out through thick and thin, through dumpster fires and non-dumpster fires. And I'm totally okay with that. Like, I decided from day one that I wouldn't do this channel if I had to edit and not come as myself, not just be authentically myself that day, show up as I am. And when you do that, sometimes you create dumpster fires. So I'm just calling them a dumpster fire just because there was just so many, like those 4 things, like all in 20 minutes was just like, I didn't even realize it until like later, until people started commenting and stuff. But I just want to thank everybody, you know, for those of you who are open to that approach. I really appreciate it. I think it is really important nowadays, especially because you don't know what to trust anymore. And so if people aren't showing up as their authentic self, making mistakes along the way, you know, you're hanging out with me even though I'm making mistakes, and, you know, sometimes talking about stuff you're maybe not comfortable with, sometimes having gum in my mouth and chewing or drinking out of a mug. You know, I just appreciate whoever hangs out here with me. But I do appreciate knowing some of the things that are hard. Like, I get the gum thing. It's amazing how much my computer picks up on stuff. I don't use a microphone. It's just my computer. Okay, like you could totally hear me swallow them, I bet. I couldn't even hear myself swallow, but you could probably hear me swallow. Okay, so the astrology for me, so this was my report for the month. I also have Faye do a channel report for the month for the community. And so she does that. Faye, I'm going to be sending you some Venmo soon. Okay, I got your email. And like, don't you like how I use this for personal messages? So usually if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, we have a free weekly newsletter. In fact, I have to work on that today and tomorrow. There's a QR code right there or in the description, a link in the description. Actually, you might already have gotten it for the week if you sign, depending on when this goes out. But anyways, a lot of times I'll put snippets of the astrology report in the newsletter. Okay, so this was really interesting. Again, this was for July 2025, and this is part of, so this is a paragraph in there. This is about me and creating this dumpster fire like how I feel like that was a dumpster fire. You may feel a little off balance at times this month, especially around home, family, or saying what's true without watering it down. But that's part of the shift. You're not being tested, you're being fine-tuned. So I kind of want, like, at first I was like, okay, what's going on? What did you want me to learn from this? There's always something, right? There's always something to learn from it. The good news is I didn't take it personally. So I kind of am moving beyond that. You know why I didn't take it personally? Because I really trust you guys. Like, I trust that there is a base of people here who know me well enough to know when I'm making a mistake and when I, whatever. But I just trust you. When you take things personally is when you don't trust somebody. You know what I mean? So I think it feels really good to me that's, I feel like that's why I didn't take it personally. But I love the idea that you're being tested. You're not being tested. So I'm not being tested. I'm being fine-tuned. Okay. So as I move forward in my birth chart and in my own astrology that's coming up in the future, as I'm being fine-tuned, it's just like what I obviously learned was just as an extroverted feeler to sometimes I do need to watch my words, right? You do need to be careful with your words. If I'm going to talk about health things, then I think it's fine for me to talk about it generally. Like generally, I'll say I'm changing the way I'm eating. But when I start getting into details, especially as an N, I'm an intuitive, very hard for me to pull the specifics. So for instance, when I talked about the way I was changing the way I was eating, I interchanged glucose with carbs. So I said glucose is not needed for the brain, which is not correct. It was carbs that I was referring to. So now I'm not saying carbs aren't needed for the brain either but I did do a chat GPT on this, and your body, again, this is where I get in trouble right here, but I'm just saying this is just an example. Do a chat GPT yourself. And obviously this is never health. Anything I talk about is not health advice, money advice. I'm just sharing what I'm doing basically. You know what I mean? Always consult a financial person or a doctor if you ever hear me talking about different things that I'm trying, because I'm not doing this alone. I mean, I've done a lot of research and I have support people around me. I have actually 2 doctors. I've got support people around me. So, so just FYI, but, so just chat GPT something. The problem with an intuitive trying to talk about specifics, especially a pretty strong intuitive on the Myers-Briggs, is that I can't really give you accurate specifics, because all I know is once I learn the broad picture of things and I can make the connection, that's fine for me. That's all I need to know. So my fine tuning is just being careful about that. Okay. And understanding that there are people listening to me, like you are listening. Right. And while I think you do understand that I am just sharing my thoughts, I think my fine tuning is to say, if this community is going to grow, I probably want to be a little bit more careful with my words. Okay. So that being said, I did see somebody's comment, and I've seen this before actually, when it comes to spiritual stuff. And you guys know, like those who know me well enough, there's a big difference between, okay, so in the spiritual world, there are some people who say that, you know how I'll say in the highest and best of all? Well, the term and of for all, the term for all, this is my understanding, I could be wrong about this, but there are some people who say that's patriarchal, that it's like, that's the way that they say that. I don't even know how to explain it, but that's not even my point, but I'm just using that as the example is that I saw somebody comment about that, which is fine, made a comment about it. I've heard it a couple times actually. So you're supposed to say your highest and best. But if you add for all at the end, that's a very patriarchal way of saying it. Okay. That being said, I also believe that we have to, when we're communicating, there is intention. And I mean, there's intention and impact, right? So there's intention and what else? What was I going to say? Oh, vibration. Okay. So if I say for all at the end of a sentence, because maybe that one thing is not that important to me from a vibrational standpoint, let's just say, okay? I get it. Like that may be a trigger for you, but it's not a trigger for me. And my intention is not to, I mean, you guys all know, if, you know, I don't support, I mean, I completely support the feminine rising, right? So on the one hand, it's like finding that balance between fine tuning and being careful with your words, but also not being overly careful that you lose your genuineness, that you lose your authenticity. My biggest pet peeve in life are people that nitpick. Now, you know, I know the difference, you know, when you're saying a racial slur or something like that. Of course, you're going to nitpick over stuff like that. But there are certain things that I think are worth nitpicking about and certain things that are not. So anywho, I'm just using that as an example when I have to think about my fine tuning, because trust me, and I'm using this as an example for everybody, not just for me and like making excuses on the channel or something. When you're talking to people, if you're talking to someone who nitpicks over every word you say, okay, will you continue wanting to talk to them? You know, it's one thing to learn some things, which you guys always are learning. But if I had to, and this is why I actually don't read a lot of comments, because I don't want to be nitpicked to death. Because I'll be nitpicked to death. You guys, as a community, not just the spiritual community, but as a YouTube community, people nitpick the creators to death. You may say one thing, but then other people are saying totally the opposite. So you don't know what it's like unless you're a YouTube creator, you know? And if you pay attention to all that, you just will be like, okay, I basically can't talk. I just basically can't talk. So, and in fact, if you follow the 4 agreements, be impeccable with your word, right? So that maybe is a place for me to fine tune. But if you've ever tried to be impeccable, like read that description and be impeccable with your word for a week, you will realize that you actually can't talk. If you are going to be impeccable with your word, you legit can't say anything. Because to be impeccable, I mean, it's just like, it's really like if you actually really thought about it, every time you say something, you know, how are you impeccable with your word, you know? And it depends on who you're talking to. So that brings me back to my whole point of intention, you know? If you know somebody has so if, for example, I say, for the highest best of all, you know my intention is not to support the patriarchy. I mean, that's just, I get it. Like, I get the idea, but I'm still probably going to say it. You know what I'm saying? Or like somebody had mentioned to me when I say, oh, I hope you're all doing well I hope you're doing well in the beginning. The word hope is not something they liked. Yeah, or if I say amen I mean, it's like, you know, so anytime we have situations like this where I create a dumpster fire, I get a bunch of feedback. The one thing I would encourage everybody to think about is what triggered you, not only in my videos, but anything. What triggers you? Why are you being triggered? Go to your trigger. Rather than going to the person who's triggering you, go to the trigger. What is it about when I say, I hope you're all doing well today? When I say the word hope, why is that a trigger for you? And it's not the word, there's something else. There's something else. Okay. So it's going inside. That's where the shadow work comes from. Okay. So there's some fine tuning that I'm doing this month. I love this astrology stuff. Okay. So she says, so when you create videos for the community, this is actually in my astrology report. When you create videos for the community, your voice is being lifted and people are ready to hear what you have to say. I don't know if that's true, but we'll see. Whether through your role as a facilitator, a guide, or a creative, your presence and your message matter. The plan you and your soul family created on the other side of the veil before you were born comes through now, asking you to stand in your truth, share your insight and love with confidence, keep moving forward with what feels right and real, let your joy lead the way. You don't see the full picture yet, but you are absolutely on the right path. July is a month of emergence and there's no rush. Just keep showing up with clear intentions to keep growing, right? The way we grow is to keep showing up to things, and the path will continue forward. I think I've had maybe 2 or 3 other dumpster fires over the last 8 months of doing this particular channel. I had a different channel for a while just on business, but which had probably 7,000 subscribers on it. But so I probably had like 2 or 3 other dumpster fires, and I've definitely grown since then. So even if it doesn't seem like I have. Anyways, I just wanted to share that with you, just hoping that maybe it resonates a little bit with you, and how you can, again, I'm just sharing things I'm learning and what kind of tools I'm using. So, okay. Anywho, so the crypto thing, I'm just going to leave go. I mean, I was basically using that whole thing, crypto and the diet changes and everything and just how adaptable we have to learn to start adapting even more, because you can see there's just so many changes. And that was really my spiritual point on that whole thing. But regarding the spirit circle, because I just blurted that out, we are definitely going to be looking at a new platform. But don't worry that's not the channel. We're staying with the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel where you're listening to this right now is free to everybody, right? As you subscribe to the channel, it's free. Okay. I'm talking about the membership. So there's a join button that you can join the Spirit Circle. Okay. So for those of you who are in the Spirit Circle and concerned about us moving platforms, don't worry. We're not going to leave you behind. If you want to stay, we will, make sure that you know how to switch platforms. It's not a big deal. We'll just send you a link, and if we'll have a tutorial or something like that. But my sister and I were talking this morning, and there is a chance we may keep what we're doing now at the membership level there, and then just bump it up a little bit for people who want to go a little deeper on the other platform, because it's just going to give us more variety. So don't worry about it. That was just an introduction. I like to introduce things that we're thinking about so that you can kind of see what's coming. So don't worry about it. Okay. We're not going to leave anybody behind. We'll always have free here as long as I'm, still interested in recording, as long as I don't get nitpicked to death. I'm just teasing. I'm learning really good. I'm doing really good, not letting that bother me. Okay, so let's see what messages they have for us today. Okay, so I'm going to use the pendulum, and I'm going to bring you down in a second, but let's go ahead and do the prayer, because have I talked to them today? I'm trying to decide. I can't remember. Okay, so I close my aura to all but my higher self, the God consciousness, my guides, guardians, the lead team collective, and only those of the highest and purest light, and ask Archangel Michael to please protect my channel, your channel, the lead team collective, and this community, so it is all of the highest and purest light. Amen. Okay. Hello, you guys. Just talking to my team. Thank you for all your kindness and your support. Can we talk to the lead team collective, please? Awesome. Okay, so lead team collective is made up of all of our spirit teams of anyone in this community. And so, so if you hang out here, your lead team, your spirit team is a part of this messaging, okay? That's the name they gave themselves on the pendulum when I asked. Okay, so lead team, do you have any messages for us today, like daily messages? Yes. Do you have a spiritual message for us? Yes. Do you have any political messages for us? Yes. Okay, how many messages do you have? Do you have more than 2? Usually they give me 2 a day. Okay, so 1 is a spiritual message and 1 is a political message today? Yes. Okay, and do you have an oracle message for us? Yes. Okay, cool. All right, well, let's see. I'm going to get my book out. And then we can review, depending on what their message is today, we can review a little bit about what the messages have been. I've been logging them all in my journal, as I usually do. Okay, so let's go ahead, and today is the 24th, 7/24. Okay, let's see what they have to say today. Okay, first word, please, first letter. Okay, is that a J? They like to say just a lot. Have you noticed that, you guys? Okay, okay, J. So I usually go to J first rather than W because they tend to pick just. Okay, so that's a U. Okay, are you saying just? So once you kind of get how your team talks to you, yep. Okay, so then you can take shortcuts, so that the first word is just. Okay, just what? I gotta adjust myself here. 1 second. Okay, just. Okay, is that an L? So because there's 2 letters in between, it was either L or Y, so I always have to confirm. So L. A. They're probably going to tell me to just laugh at myself. Okay, U. Are you saying just laugh? Yes. Okay, so just laugh. Is that the full message, just laugh? No? Okay. So just laugh. Okay, so they're going to say probably at, so that's A. T. Okay, so just laugh at. If they pick K, I'm going to just... I'm going to be like, you are just so funny. Are you guys saying you're done? Usually we're done. Are you guys, do you have another word? Just laugh at? Oh, you do? Okay, so just laugh at. You can see on the board right here, it says all done. Word done or all done. Right here, there's a little circle. So if they start circling. Okay, so just laugh at. I don't know if it's because I switched hands or what the deal is. So they're saying yes. Just laugh at what? Just laugh at what? Okay, they're either going to say Karen or yourself. Because they just pick K or Y. Okay, so are you saying just laugh at yourself? No. Are you saying just laugh at Karen? It's funny because when they fart, you stinkers. Okay, that's really helpful. Okay, so I mean that, it is kind of interesting considering what we were just talking about, right? So what that makes me feel like is, let's not take things so seriously. We don't have to take things so seriously, but it's still point taken, especially about health stuff. I think we got to be careful about that, finances and stuff like that. So was your message just laugh at Karen? What a bunch of goofballs. You guys are goofy. Okay. This wouldn't be the first message they had with my name in it, so put it that way. If you guys have been around, you know. So are you using that as an example, like just laugh at, like to not take things so seriously? Just in general, it's not about what I talked about, but just in general, to like brush things off easier. Is that the message you're giving us? Is that the spiritual advice in that? Or is there they're saying yes, or is there something else? Okay. So they're using that example of just saying for all of us, again, separate from what I talked about or from me personally, but just in general, taking things a little bit more with a grain of salt, not taking things so seriously, not nitpicking. Again, has nothing to do with me and what I was talking about. You have every right to say whatever you wanted to say. So, but it's good advice. It's good advice. Okay, let's see what else they had. I'm going to assume this next one. Well, let me just ask if they're done with the spiritual message. Are you done with the spiritual message? Okay. And what is you said you had a political message? All right. Ooh, really wide swing. Okay. I might go over, well, we're getting into 30 minutes already. I might go over a few things that I noticed in the news recently. Okay, what's your political message? Yeah, they're really moving. Okay, is that a Y? Okay, Y. Come on. Okay. Is this a YR as in WHY? So YARE? Is that what you're saying? YR? That's a common thing they do too, is they'll just use the letter Y for the word Y, WHY. Okay, are you saying why are you? Is that part of your message? Why are you? Okay, yes. Okay. And again, because I've been working with them like this, I kind of know that that's how they mind talk with, the LTC talks with us. So why are you? Why are we what? Okay, is that a B? Huh. It's an O? Okay, why are you O? Interesting. F? Is that an, I'm assuming that's an F. Is that an F? So are you spelling offended? Okay, because they did the F kind of long, so that's why, so FF. Okay, let's just continue. So let's just assume you guys spelt out OFF. What's the next letter? Sometimes I just do that just to double check that I'm not, you know, putting words in their mouth, which I don't think we are, but never know. Okay, so there's my E. Okay, so why are you offended with what? Offended, why are you offended about what? What are you referring to? Or why are you offended? Is that the whole message? Okay, so why are you offended? A, B, O, okay. So why are you offended about? Okay, about what? Why are you offended about? This is going to be interesting to see what they say. Oh my, really? Are you saying, is that an E? Wow. I mean, what else do you guys know what's going on right now that starts with an E? Okay, E. Wow. P. Well, that is a good question. I mean, pretty easy answer. T. Okay, are you saying why are you offended about Epstein? Dang. All right. Well, you guys, so that's an interesting. Why are you offended about Epstein? What do you think about that? So again, this, for me, you got to interpret the way it's helpful for you. That is telling me, and I can ask them, but it has to do with triggers again. It's like, why are you offended about Epstein might be different about why I'm offended by Epstein, about the topic of Epstein. I mean, I know a lot of people in the community, I wouldn't be surprised if many people say this, but even when Trump was in office the first time, I would come home, my husband would have CNN on all the time. He doesn't watch it at all anymore, not even for a nanosecond. But he would have it on all the time, anytime we were home. And I could not stand hearing his voice. I was like, it was just so, I don't know. I don't know what it was about him, but I just could not stand hearing his voice, And so I never really looked into that trigger. Like, what is it about his voice? Well, it's not, yeah, it's what he represents, obviously, but so are you guys asking, when you say, why are you offended about Epstein, are you asking us to look inside at our triggers? Yes, okay. So ultimately you're asking us to do shadow work? Yes, okay. Because it is true. I mean, that's really nothing outside of yourself is more important than what's inside yourself. Nothing. If we're spiritual beings having a human experience, your individual growth is the most important thing, should be your first priority. Again, that's just my opinion. But I think we spend so much of our lives looking outside of ourselves, mostly because we don't want to look inside. And you know people like that. You know people who would go to their grave with just, not wanting to look at themselves, So really interesting. I should have really written that down. I know the second one. So why are you offended? And then we'll pull a card and see what they want. Why are you offended by, or about, they said, about Epstein? Wow. Okay. So, you know, think about what you want to do with that information. Maybe spend a few minutes asking yourself, what is it about that situation? What is the bigger picture about it that's triggering for you? Because collectively we have to heal the things that people do that is, you know, the things we don't want to have happen anymore. We have to heal that within ourselves in order for it to heal the collective. And so I do think, and maybe that has to do with the same message, the first message as well, is why are you, what was it? I can't even remember, something about me. So I'll have to go back and write it down. But so this is how quickly I forget stuff. And it doesn't have to do with no carbs in my brain. That's actually something I'm healing. Actually, it's getting better, I have to tell you. So yeah, that's just interesting. So self-care, they keep talking about self-care, how important that is right now. I did post a video that was really, I thought really helpful. I posted in the channel to yesterday. I would go and take a look at that in the post area of the channel. Really helpful. And I just keep hearing even tarot readers and how important self-care is right now. And these messages are about self-care. So, and I just think it's preparing us for, you know, the continuing shift that we're all taking. And I don't want to keep saying chaos because we don't want to, you know, if we manifest, we don't want to keep manifesting chaos. So we want to take care of ourselves though, so that we can go through the changes that are coming, that we are being, you know, that we're all discovering the changes that are coming to Earth, to us as a collective. If we are moving from 3D to 5D, there's huge changes coming. And the only way that we can step through that is one step at a time, but also taking as best of care of yourself as possible right now. And that just, you know, focusing on yourself, right? Looking at your triggers. What's triggering you? Okay, so let's see. Okay, so you guys have a message for us using one of the decks that I have. I've got about 64. I think there's 64 cards. Oh, a whole bunch of them just fell out. Oh my gosh, that's way too many. Okay, well, let me just do a quick ask. Look at all the cards I got. Okay, this is pretty much how I do it when I don't do this in real time with you. Okay, so we have, do you guys want me to use animal elders? No. Sacred medicine? No. Energy oracle? They used that yesterday, or they used that with the spirit circle yesterday. The enchanted map? Yes. Okay. Wild mystic? No. The wisdom of Tula, which is a creator in our community. Keeper of the light oracle? Oh, you want me to use both of those? This video is getting kind of long. Wisdom of the oracle. You want me to use that one? No. So you want me to use the enchanted map and keepers of the light? Yes. Okay. All right. I shall not argue with them. All right. I'm going to just go over to my cabinet and grab this one and the enchanted map, and I will be right back. Okay, so I just came from my cabinet over there where I've got all my decks in alphabetical order. All right, let's go ahead with the enchanted map first. Enchanted map, I've got them linked in the description, and let's just see what they have for us today. Okay, lead team. What messages do you have for us with the oracle today? This one kind of popped out. Anything else? Whoa, that was a real popper. Okay, so 2 came out of there. Let's see. Okay, do you want me to read all 3 of these cards? No, really wide swing. Okay, all right, I get it. Do you want me to pull any other cards from the deck? No. What about the card on the right? Do you want me to read that one? Yes. The one in the middle? No. The one on the left? No. Okay, so the one on the right popped out, like really popped out with this middle card, and they said no to the middle card. Okay. Oh. All right. Just funny how everything always seems to connect. At least for me it does. I'll try to help you make connections if you know, sometimes I'm not that great at doing it, but okay. So into the unknown. So number 7, into the unknown. Okay. So let's see. I mean, isn't every day just into the unknown? I mean, especially how, you know, stuff changes in our lives and just nothing is constant. Cut, clear, cancel. Sometimes it's nice to have stuff that's constant. Okay, so was this reversed? I forgot that this deck has a reversal. So do you guys want me to read this card upright? Yes. Do you want me to read it reversed? No. Okay. All right, so upright. Trust, and all will be revealed. Life is an adventure, and often new opportunities will arise that you won't know how to deal with. This is one of those times. You're required to trust that this new phase will reveal wonders and miracles as you step into the unknown territory. Wow. Imagine that you are not only a pathfinder, but a path maker. That's cool. You're not a pathfinder, you're a path maker. Whatever your inquiry, trust that you'll be safe. Stay aware as you discover new and marvelous territories and valuable treasures. That's cool. Wow, that was a very clear message. Okay. All right. Love it. I'm going to keep that out and put it in my book. I've got so many decks sitting out right now. I got to get caught up here. Okay. We pulled in the spirit circle yesterday. I think there was like 5. I'm looking over at that was 4 decks we used in the spirit circle yesterday. That's how many they wanted to use. So, okay. So this is Keepers of the Light. Keepers of the Light. Okay. All right. So what message do you guys have from this deck? What message do you have from this deck? Lead team, please. Okay, I don't know. It's kind of popped out. Let me just see if it's one of those. Is the card you want us to have one of those 4? Yes. Okay, what about the card on top? No. Card number 2? Yes. Card number 3? No. Card number 4? No. Okay. So card number 2. Okay. Card number 2. Oh. Isis. Magic manifesting. Your dreams, visions, and goals are becoming reality. Stay focused. Okay, we've been getting that message quite a bit too, that this is a really significant time of manifesting. Okay, and actually that was a part of July astrology for sure. So let's see. So just a reminder to stay focused and, you know, trusting the unknown, that great things are going to come. And because here's the thing, if we're so focused all the time on the catastrophic things, and if this is a huge manifesting time, then where's your focus? What are you going to manifest? You're going to manifest catastrophic things. So we just have to really start shifting that focus more and more. Okay, you are moving into a space where your dream reality is becoming your outward reality. This is an extremely powerful time, and it's vital to keep focused on the highest good of all. Even Kyle Gray says the highest good of all. Isn't that funny? Since I just used that as an example. You no longer want to relive your own history and or feel unsupported. Acknowledging where you once were and how you have changed that situation around is a powerful focus of gratitude that will align you with universal abundance. Discipline and commitment are important now. Consider that you are moving between worlds when you daydream or create visions and bring life-enhancing ideas into your reality. Magic is manifesting all around you. This is exciting. Very cool. It's really interesting because the two cards we got today said both. This one said this is an extremely powerful time. And this card pretty much said the same thing. It said, life is an adventure and often new opportunities will arise that you won't know how to deal with. This is one of those times. So really interesting messages, consistent, I think, with what's going on today. So, okay, well, let me know what you think. Hopefully I didn't offend too many more people today with my big opinions about things. And we'll just get back to normal chit chat next time I see you. Okay? All right. Oh, hey, by the way, Friday and Saturday, we've got 2 episodes, part 1 and 2, about ICE. So basically, immigration enforcement. So questions that you had from the community, I'll be really interested to hear what the lead team has to say about it, because I am kind of curious about, it feels like we're building a police state that's not very comfortable. So I'm interested to see what they have to say about that. Plus, we're going to lean into, though, the things that we just heard today, and keep that forefront when we're exploring that topic. So, all right, so maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, have a good one. Bye-bye.